What's up guys, it's Kaisan here again and welcome back to the next episode of our Path of Exile Let's Play. We're still in the Prisoner's Gate, the first area after we defeated Brutus, and we're just gonna continue going. Alright, so we found the next thing to talk about. In this area there is a zone boss, and well, in a sense there's two zone bosses, and one of them we just found. He's right over there. You can see him right here, the Guardian of the Mount. So what he does is he casts fireballs and molten shell, but that's not all, because he casts totems as well, and you can see that if I'm just gonna clear out the other mobs. Ouch, that actually hurt. Oh, and there's a rare. I want to defeat this rare before I actually deal with the Guardian of the Mount. So this one has powerful crits, we already know that. It resists elemental damage, it deals lightning damage, and it is unwavering. That means this is actually, I'm just gonna kill it first and then I'll show you guys what unwavering means. If you go into the passive tree, you can see that right down here. Where is it? Right here. Unwavering stance is one of the keystone passives, and it says cannot evade, but you also cannot be stunned. So this guy cannot evade any of my attacks, but I can never stun him. So that's what unwavering on a monster means. So now that we cleared out the rest, I want to show you guys what this guy does. So he can summon this totem, which basically it's not really a fireball totem, but it has a Vol Fireball, and Vol Fireball works in a way that it just shoots fireballs in like a 360-degree fashion. And then he has this. We've seen this before with Chatter, where he basically had these circles on the ground, and after a while, if you continue to stay in them, they deal cold damage. With these ones, it's lightning damage. So, I mean, this is an actual attack. Wow, I'm kind of blanking on the name of it. Give me a second, I'll be back. Okay. So the attack is called Storm Call, and that's what he uses. He basically puts some of them on the ground, and then they all detonate on top of each other. The one thing that was on his description as well, that is called Molten Shell. That's the one you see the things that circle his character. That's Molten Shell, and he casts that from time to time. There we go. He just cast it. So this is actually a somewhat tricky fight, because you have to evade a lot of things. You have to constantly move around to evade his Storm Call, and you have to be careful about the totem as well, because if you're right beside the totem, you know, it might deal quite some damage to you. So this is actually not the easiest fight, especially if your lightning damage is really low. The Storm Call does a lot of damage to you. So you should always move, maybe go in, attack him a couple of times, then move away. Wait until, if he casts a totem, wait until the totem actually attacks, and then go in. And eventually you will be able to kill him. And even if you kill him, if he casted Storm Call before he got killed, that Storm Call will still deal damage to you, and it will still execute. So if you're really low on life and you manage to kill him, he could still potentially kill you if you're standing on a Storm Call. So be careful when it comes to that. So here we have the second area boss, in a sense. It's called the Burning Menace, and this one is actually, there's nothing really special about it. It has fast attacks, deals fire damage. It can hit relatively hard. It's basically, we've seen the hounds before, and if they explode, they leave a burning ground. So this one is basically, you know, the big brother, where if you kill it, It leaves like a big area of burnt ground which deals a bit more damage, but other than that, there's nothing special about this mob. I just had a bear trap dropping from one of the chests that I opened. And to show you, we've seen it before, and I said a few words before about it when we had it as a potential quest reward, as an option. Okay, so let's just put it in for now for one of the spectral throws that we're leveling, and let's find someone to use it on. So I have it on R. Okay, come on. I want one monster. Shouldn't be that hard to find. There we go. So if I throw it and somebody... See, this monster can't move for a certain amount of time, and it deals quite a bit of single target damage. I mean, keep in mind, this is... We just found the gem, and it is a level 4 gem. So we are in a level 11 zone, and this gem is at level 4. So for that, it actually deals quite some damage. As with any other gem, as with Fire Trap, you can see the 3 here. So we cannot just all the time throw them. Once we throw 3, you have to reload until you can throw another one. And you can see that happening right here. But it's a really good gem if you're looking for maybe a trapper build and you want to do single target damage. Bear Trap is the way to go. I just found another shrine that we haven't seen yet. This one is called Freezing, and that makes it pretty obvious what it does. It deals a little bit of damage. It's actually pretty tiny, and your actions are slowed while standing on shield ground. So basically, this is my normal movement speed, and once I go in here, you can see that I'm quite a bit slower. So that's the only thing that it does. And again, we can pick it up, and we can slow people and deal damage to them at the same time by using this this shrine. So we just had a level up. Let's put that point in here. We're gonna get some more dexterity. And just to show you guys, we are planning on proceeding all the way up here now towards coordination, and this is the shadow starting area, so that's where we're going. So we'll put this one in. We found the entrance to the next area, which is the ship graveyard, and once we enter, there's a waypoint right around the start here. Oh, you can see there's ROAs here. It's just they look a bit different, but they're basically ROAs. They have the same charge attack as we've already seen before, and those guys we've seen before as well. The only difference here is that they're burrowed, so you can't really see them before they pop out right in front of you. So the waypoint is somewhere around the start, so you always should, right around the start, look for it. And you can see that there's an area here that just was highlighted once we got close to it, and this is an area with where we can get a quest. I will go there right now, but you don't necessarily have to do this. You don't have to go there to get the quest. You can just get the item that the quest requires. I will actually... I can't pick it up right now, but this item might be interesting for us. So you don't have to go here to get the quest. You can just get the quest item and then come back here, and that works as well. You can see there's Captain Fargraves here. Frankly, and he basically asks you for a certain item, the Allflame, that you're supposed to find for him, and that's within a cave that is right in this zone, the ship graveyard. So that's the next... it's a side quest, so it is not something that you have to do to follow the storyline and to progress. but it gives you something that is worthwhile, so you should definitely do it. Here we have extra damage, extra cold damage. So 2 damage mods is relatively dangerous. Against me, not so much. So let's just kill him. And he gains endurance charges, so you can see I'm not dealing that much damage to him, just because these swirling things around him are endurance charges, and they make him quite a bit harder to kill. Endurance charges work against physical damage. Alright, so we can't pick up anything right now, so we're just going for the waypoint, and I'll see you guys in town. Now, here we have an item that, it's another example of an item that might look halfway decent, but is actually really terrible. So this item gives us 7% increased cold damage, some lightning damage. The lightning damage roll is actually pretty nice. And then it gives us life gained on hit, a physical damage leached, and accuracy. So the thing here that you have to think about is how many of the stats actually work well together. And there's almost nothing that really fits here. The 7% increased cold damage is pretty much on its own, because you're not dealing any cold damage with this weapon, apart from the, well, not even the 10% increased elemental damage, because that only counts if you already have cold damage somewhere, and you don't. The 2 to 25 lightning damage, yeah, that's probably the best stat on the item. Just gives you some additional damage. The 2 life gained per hit is not bad, but there's not enough damage on the weapon to actually make it worthwhile for, for a melee attack weapon. The 1% of physical damage leached would be great if you had physical damage multipliers on the weapon, which you don't. So the 1% leech for mana only comes from 6 to 9 physical damage, which is literally nothing. And the accuracy rating doesn't make it any better. So this weapon is really, really terrible, although it has a couple of stats on it. So we're just gonna sell it. We found quite a few flasks, so we can actually use the flask recipe again and get the next flask here. And since we just turned level 14, we can actually use it and put it right in here. The same goes for life flasks.
Be careful.
We can get a higher flask and put it in here, and you can see the difference. This is 80 mana, this is 100, this is 110 life, this is 200 life. So almost double in terms of life. Mana was not so huge in terms of, the difference was not that great. We already found a second Quicksilver flask, which, first of all, we will use a transmutation on it again. I would always use a transmutation on a Quicksilver if I find one, because you can get something that is really valuable. This one, it's not bad. The charge recover is good because that makes it so you get your charges back quicker once you use the flask. And the evasion rating is good for a build that actually uses a lot of evasion. Is it better than the one that we have right now? I would say no at this point, simply because the elemental resistances right now are good for us, because we are not maxed out on resistances. So whenever we use this flask, we get a bump here. Evasion, we have high evasion, so evasion would be helpful here as well. But I rather have the 14 extra charges instead of charge recovery, because that allows me to use it 3 times in a row. But we will definitely keep this, that's not bad. And another thing that we got is I identified this tribal maul, and it has a pretty nice physical damage roll. So if we compare this, that's 34 roughly, and this one is 32.5. Okay, so it's not quite there. If we used an orb of augmentation on this item, it might get a bit better. It might even be a slight damage increase. But again, you have to ask yourself, is it really worth it to invest the currency here? And I would say no, it's not.
Be careful.
So we can just sell it. It's really not worth it to keep it because it's not a damage increase, and it's not worth it to use currency on it because even if it's a damage increase, with using the orb of augmentation, it will not be enough to justify using it. So that's what it is. I just picked up the rustic sash for one of the recipes that I want to show you guys eventually, but I'm still short one ingredient to actually show it. So we just turned level 14, and that's actually a quite significant level up for one particular reason. I told you guys before that there's certain levels, in certain item levels, that you have to get 3 sockets or 4 sockets or 5 sockets on an item. And if you guys remember, at item level 15 we get 3 sockets on an item. So that doesn't really, it's not really doing anything for us right now at the ship graveyard, because the highest item that could potentially drop in here is level 14. But what it influences, because we are level 14, is the vendors. So what you have to know about the vendors as well is that the vendor always offers you, there's an exception that I will mention later on, but usually if your level is not a lot higher than the act that you're in, the vendor will offer you items that are 1 level higher than what you are. So if you go for item level on any item that you can buy on the vendor, you can see that it is level 15. So that's actually important, because now you see the first items with 3 sockets on the vendor. And the reason why this is important is, I'm not even sure I can actually show you guys right now, because we would have to find the right item on here. You can see this is a 3-link, and we're looking for 3 links, but not, they have to have a certain coloring to be important to us. Here we go. So this is what we're looking for. This item is worth something for us. So what you're looking for, and not just on the vendor, once you get to an area where items drop with an item level above 15, you should always look out for items that have a 3-link, so 3 sockets all linked together, and you have a green, a blue, and a red socket that are linked. And that counts as well if, let's say we had a 5-link. Obviously that 5-link is not a good idea, because you don't want to sell that. But let's say we have a 4-link, so we would have an additional socket here, and that would be linked to those 3 as well. We only need 1 green, 1 red, and 1 blue, and they don't even have to be in this order, so it could be green, green, blue, red. As long as you have 1 green, 1 blue, and 1 red within the link, that's what's important. So here we have to pay 1 scroll of wisdom to get this item, which is, that's a really good deal. So we're gonna buy this, and we're gonna check if we can find another one on here, which it doesn't really look like. And now what we can do, we can resell it to the vendor straight away, and we get a chromatic orb. So every time you have this link with green, blue, red, so all 3 colors linked together, and you sell it to the vendor, you get a chromatic orb, and that orb allows you to reforge colors of sockets. So let's say we you know, we have, let's say we have a weapon, and we've seen one of those in one of the prior videos where it says on this item, on this weapon, it's +1 level to socketed fire gems. You know, let's just assume that's the case. And we have, for example, Fire Trap, which would benefit from if we put it in that weapon. But what if the socket is not green? What if it's red? Well, then we have to use a chromatic orb and hope that we get a green instead of a red. And once we can actually benefit. Our fire trap can benefit from the +1. So this is basically how you get most of your chromatics. You just pick items. You pick up items with a 3 link of all 3 colors. Back at the ship graveyard, you can see that on my right is the area where we got the quest. And about the layout of the area, if you follow the shore, so if you basically, you know, follow it all along, that's how you get to the next zone. But since we have this this quest and the item that we need to finish the quest is in a cave, that's not along the water, so we basically have to go a bit inland here to find it, and I'll show you guys when I found it. We do have spectral corsairs in here. It's a new kind of mob. There's nothing special about them. They deal lightning damage and just have a normal melee attack. And we found another ruby ring. Nice. Sadly, this one is the lowest roll again, 20%. The highest is 30%. Okay, so if you get close enough to the entrance of the side area, you will see this red dot on your map. And if you go towards it, you see that the ship graveyard cave is, you know, within the ruins of a ship. And we're gonna go in here and make our way. And then, you know, as soon as you enter the area, even if you haven't picked up the quest, as far as I know, the quest will show up. We have a freezing shrine here as well. Nice. Just gonna pick this up, and we'll continue towards Allflame. In here we actually have a sort of mob that we haven't encountered, and if you guys remember, I was talking about Flicker Strike before. It's a skill where you basically teleport towards your target, and I said that, you know, it's hard to watch and it's damaging to the eyes. And those monsters, the mobs in here actually use it, or some of the monsters. Oh, okay, so we have Seething Brine here. That's new as well. They cast Ice Nova. That's basically what I'm casting right now. So they basically cast an AoE spell that goes in all directions outwards from their body, and it shields you, or potentially if it crits, it might freeze you as well. Extra fire damage, okay. Well, I mean, those guys are nothing new. What I'm trying to find... See, here we have something with 3 sockets again. I'm just gonna pick up the ruby ring, why not? Okay, here we go. So this is one of them. So there we go. You can see how they just teleport back and forth, and it looks pretty cool. And as you could make a build with Flicker Strike if you wanted to, but then again, desync is pretty. It desyncs pretty hard if you use this skill. So I don't have the best PC, and if you don't have one either, then I would not recommend it. We found our first Strongbox. This is actually another, I wouldn't say major feature, but it's another interesting feature of the game. It's something, you know, along the lines of corrupted zones were introduced at some point, And in the same sense, strongboxes were introduced. Strongboxes were actually the theme of one of the challenge leagues, one of the prior standard, so softcore challenge leagues. And what they do is, as you can see, they're guarded by 3 packs of monsters, and they're in a sense they're similar to other items in terms of the attributes. So you can find white strong boxes, and you could use currency items on those strong boxes. So if you find a white strongbox, you could use a transmutation on the strongbox to make it magic. You could use an orb of alchemy on it to make it rare. But you also already find strongboxes that are magic or rare. So in this instance, we found a magic one, and it's unidentified. So I could use Scroll of Wisdom on it. I don't have to though. Basically, if I click on it, so my character, if I click on it, my character runs towards it and opens it. I can do this without identifying it. The thing about not identifying a strongbox is that if you don't do it, you don't really know what comes out of it, because there's different mods on strongboxes, and some of them are really dangerous, some of them are more benign. So because this is the first strongbox that we see, we're just gonna have a peek. Okay, so on here we already have one of the most dangerous mods, and that's freezes you when activated. Especially later on in the game, when you encounter a rare strongbox with this mod, freezes you when activated, this will be really, really dangerous to you in most cases, because for example, there are other mods like explodes, or there's an additional 3 rare monsters in there. So if you're frozen and then everything around you explodes and there's rare monsters bashing your head in, you can die in an instant. So freezes you when activated. In this case, because there's nothing else, is not that bad. I can easily survive it. But in combination with other mods that strongboxes could potentially have, it is really dangerous. So the second one is actually something positive. So strongboxes will always have some sort of dangerous mod on it, and then usually there's another one that is that's good for you, you know, that increases the amount of items that drop, or the amount of rarity or quantity of items. So there's an upside to it as well, and contains additional 6 items, or 6 additional items is actually pretty good. So that was a lot of talk. Let's have a look at it and open it up. So you can see that the 3 groups of monsters spawned, and all the monsters out of a strongbox have these this yellow circle around them, so you can see which ones are normal monsters and which ones spawned from here. So this should be the last one. Once you kill the last one, the strongbox opens, and you obviously get achievements for the ones that you opened. So this was the first strongbox. It was a really easy one actually, but as we go on, we will definitely encounter some that are really, really dangerous, and potentially even some that I will open because it's softcore, but I would never open in a hardcore league. Now, if you went to Captain Fairgrace and you picked up the quest, then once you get close enough, you can see this exclamation mark, and it tells you where the Allflame is. If you did not go there and you were just straight away heading towards the cave, you can still see, you know, this mist here, and this kind of lighting going on will tell you that that's where it happens. That's where the Allflame is. And once you get close to it, you will have this strangle charm, which is the boss in this zone. Just you know, it's burrowed usually, so I guess you basically you wake it up. Wow, my voice is kind of having a difficult time here right now. There's nothing special about Strangle Charm. He's basically a bigger, again, like a big brother of the ones that we already saw in here, using Ice Nova as well. And then once you beat it, don't forget to click on this slave girl. Oh, we get a sapphire ring, nice. And the girl will drop the Allflame, and that's the item. You can see it here. That's the item that you need to fulfill the quest. Sapphire ring that we just picked up is cold resistance ring. It's, you know, same as the fire resistance, just for cold. Now, you don't have to run all the way back. Obviously, there's an exit to the ship graveyard here right away, and this exit is usually very close to the start of the map. So if your inventory is full, you could go to the waypoint and sell some stuff, or if you just want to go straight to Fairgraves, you run over here. And now there's an exclamation mark. So you talk to him,
My Allflame, my...
and he kind of betrays you, because with the Allflame, I don't know exactly what happens. He kind of comes back to life, or he gets new powers. So he summons some of his skellies, and he's actually, you know, do you recognize this skill? I think you should. So I'm not even gonna comment on this skill here. So he uses a skill that we might or might not have seen before, and is attacking you. If you get too close, he's using a melee attack as well, and he should use something else as well. Let's damage him a bit. Here we go. Okay, yeah. So he's summoning some skulls as well that attack you. This skill is called Summon Raging Spirits. And those skulls attack you, I think, once or twice, and then they disappear. So it's not as if you necessarily have to kill them, because they disappear after a while. So you could just evade them and then continue to attack Fairgraves, and then, you know, go around again, attack him. He's pretty easy. I mean, you could just tank it out, but basically just run around a bit and then they're gone. And here we go.
You were a good
We
man
kill
in
him.
a bad situation, Fairgraves.
So now
Rest in
we pick
peace.
up whatever he left behind. I like to pick up flasks, as you guys probably noticed. And then what you do next is you go as fast. Oh, okay, I can't go through here. Use your Quicksilver, go towards the waypoint, and go back to town, because in town... Alright, here we go. In town, you can talk to Bastel now, and he will say, oh, well done with Fairgraves. He was like a pain in the ass, and I'll grant you a skill point, because you killed him. And I would say that's very nice of you. Right-click it, and use that beautiful skill point. And we're actually getting some intelligence now with this node, and going towards the shadow zone even more. So that's the side quest that we just finished. We did find an upgrade for our chest piece. This one has, again, if we compare armor and evasion, it has roughly 20 more. We get an additional 13 energy shield, which we can roughly compare with life. So we basically, if you look at the plate vest, it has 18 life and we get 13 energy shield, so it's slightly less. But then the resistances are a lot better on this one. So we get 9% resistance on the plate vest, and we get 32% on this other, on this oiled vest. So that's way better, and this is an easy decision. And actually, and this is what I like to do, like zoom in when I get new gear and see how it looks. And I would say that already looks quite a bit better. And we will never use this one again, so we can easily sell it. And since it has apparently 6 attributes as well, increased armor, life. Huh, okay. This is actually interesting. How is this 6? Life is 1, life regeneration is 1, lightning is 1. So the only thing I can think of is that there is 1 hybrid and 1 normal one. Now the only question is, it can be one of 2 things. It could be there is a normal increased armor and then there's a hybrid armor and stun recovery, or it could be that there is a hybrid armor stun recovery and a normal stun recovery. One of the 2 it has to be. So that actually shows you that sometimes it can be really tricky to figure out whether an item already has 6 attributes or not, because there's some hybrids that you can't really tell apart very easily. Again, this will be a lot more interesting and a lot more important later on in the game when you're creating your own items from scratch. For now, we're happy that we get the augment, and we'll just get that in here and go back into, what is it? The ship graveyard. Hello, hello. We found a master again. It's Elrion again. And since there's only 1 relic, it seems to be the same as before. Complete the mission, defend the relic, feed souls to the relic. That's actually a bit different. Whoa, okay, that's all exploders right here. So if it says defeat or feed souls to the relic, you have to kill these thingies within the circle, and if you do, that's basically how you feed. So you have to wait until they come in here and then defeat them, and that's the feeding. So I need 20 more, and this one is already kind of down, so I have to be careful. Yeah, my mana is gone. Give me more mana. How many are left? 13. Okay. Oh yeah, I can do this. Okay, it's 6 left. That should easily work. Let's wait until they're in. Here we go. Okay, sweet. So this is slightly different from what we've seen before, where the only thing that you have to think about is defend it. So you can just kill mobs wherever you want. As soon as they spawn, they're fair game. And here they have to be within this circle to actually count. So that makes it a bit more difficult in a sense, because if they're closer, then they can potentially deal more damage to the relic. Alright, so we made it.
Taking a bit of a shine to you, Crusader.
And we made it to level 2 with Elrion. Nice. Alright, and we're continuing our way along the coastline to get to the next area. That was a pretty short walk. We are at the entrance to the coves, and we got 1 more point that we can invest, get some more intelligence, and enter the coves. So here, the first mobs in the coves, or one of the mobs in the coves, are fetid shamblers, which are basically zombies. There's one thing about them that is a bit different from the zombies that we encountered so far, though. If you kill one of them, you can see that the ground turns black, and that's tar. So they spread tar on death, and that tar slows you down. So it's similar to like a if you're chilled and your movement speed is a bit lower. So that's the same. Otherwise, they have the same melee attack pattern, and there's nothing else that is really worthwhile mentioning about them. I ran into a tormented soul, a tormented warlord, and my recording device didn't really work. I had to reset it, so you couldn't really see what was going on. But as you can see, there's a lot of loot here, so I was not able to kill it in the end because there were so many mobs around, and but a lot of mobs were kind of possessed or touched by it, so I'm pretty happy about what I got out of it. And interestingly enough, we have a weapon elemental damage drop, so in the end I didn't really have to buy it after all. But as I said, I haven't really lost anything. I can just sell this to somebody else. Oh, nice. And another quality flask. Maybe we have enough now for the recipe. I'll check when I'm back in town. Okay, and another drop. Decoy totem. I can easily show you what decoy totem does. Oh, whoops. I didn't even realize. Okay. I did find a weapon that had 1-2 level of socketed melee gems on it, and I just wanted to show it really quickly, but apparently I forgot to switch it back with my actual weapon, so I still have it on here. Well, now I can actually show you guys. So this one has 1-2 melee gems, and if you put a melee gem in it, then you will actually see it on the gem as well, that it has +1 level from item. In that way you can double check whether the gem that you put into it benefits from the +1. So that's all I wanted to show here. Let's put decoy totem in here so I can just show you guys what that does. For that I do need an enemy somewhere. Okay, so here we have one. So right now those guys are attacking me. If I press E and put the totem right here, you can see that it draws attention from me, and they start attacking the totem instead of myself. Especially against monsters that hit really hard, this is really good to distract them. And then if I put this here while they're distracted, I can just kill them, you know, before they have any chance to retaliate. So that's basically what this totem is about. Because it is level 1, you can see it's requires level 4 right now. It is pretty weak, but if you level it up, its health value will increase, and it will actually it will be okay for a couple of hits, and that should usually be enough to maybe not kill the monster you're fighting against, but at least deal some damage, and then if it's gone you can just resummon it, resummon another one. Okay, so this is the Cavern of Wrath. This is the next area, and this is actually where I want to end this video. The only thing that we will do is, here it says talk to Nessa, so just by entering this area you completed a quest, and you can go back to town through the waypoint and pick up your reward, and that's the last thing that we will do in this episode. So go to Nessa,
must take your chances.
and here she will give you the first support gem that you get in the game. I mean, I already have one because I bought it, but this is officially the first one that you get. And let's talk about these a bit. Added cold damage is pretty simple. It just adds a base amount, or a flat amount of cold damage, and the damage obviously increases with the level of the gem, and it also increases the chill duration on enemies. So if you hit an enemy and you chill it, then it is chilled for a longer time. Faster projectiles increases projectile speed, and it also does something for projectile damage. So this is, you could argue that this might be interesting for my build with Spectral Throw, because Spectral Throw is a projectile. Where do we have it? Right here. Yes. So you know, I would both get an increase of the effect, a speed increase, and also some additional damage. But the increase in damage is not that great. So this is more, the important thing about this one is more the speed. And there's certain skill gems that really benefit from increased projectile speed. Two examples would be EK, which is ethereal knives. I actually had to think there for a second. So ethereal knives is one spell that benefits from it, or one attack that benefits from it, and another one is freezing pulse. We'll talk about these a bit more when we actually encounter them. Fork, it makes projectiles fork, which means once you hit the first enemy, it forks. So you kind of how to explain this? Okay, so basically, let's say the enemy's right here, and you are here, and you shoot, and you hit the enemy right here, and then it forks, which means there's one going in this direction and one in this. And if there's enemies basically behind, on both sides behind the enemy that you hit, you will probably hit those two as well. You can see that this actually reduces the projectile damage if you link it to projectile attack, but you have the chance of hitting more than one monster. I will take added cold damage here, although you might think that this is the one that does the least, but I rather have the flat damage increase than these two, to be honest. So just trust me, and yeah, we'll take this one. Alright, there's nothing more to do right here, so all I can say is thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and we are actually pretty close to the boss of Act 1, and I hope we can get to the Act 1 boss in the next episode. If you like the video, please give it a like, and consider subscribing to the channel and supporting me. Yeah, again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys for the next episode.